What's going on, guys? I just wrapped up a workout and it wasn't the way I would typically train, but it got me thinking. I feel like nowadays everybody's discussing online what the most optimal way to train in the gym is, and there's definitely a wrong way to train. But when it comes to the right way to train, there's so many different ways. And I think a good example of this is anytime you look at somebody who's at an elite level with competing or they have a really good physique, 99% of the time, none of them are going to train the same way. Now, they might have aspects of their training that are similar, but exercise selection, order, intensity, volume, it's all going to be a little bit different. And that's because at some point, if you want to get to the next level, you have to do things that other people aren't willing to do. And I think a big part of why you see some styles of training come and go is because most people are just going to follow the trend. And I don't think this is a bad thing. I think if you're a beginner and you don't know where to start, maybe you should start with something that's a little bit more popular. I know like an upper lower split is kind of the thing right now. And not that there's anything wrong with the upper lower split, but I feel like we're coming off of, push pull legs being really popular. Bro split was pretty popular when I first started lifting. When I first started lifting about 10, 11 years ago, everybody was talking about, oh, you need to squat, bench, and deadlift. And I feel like nobody even talks about that anymore. But realistically, the guys that are saying, oh, you need to train this way in order to grow, none of them have physiques that anybody would strive to achieve. And I'm not calling anybody out or saying that they look bad. I'm just saying nobody would see a physique like that and be like, that's the end goal. You know what I mean? And everybody has their own journey. But I think when it comes down to finding the perfect routine, everybody to some degree just wants to make sure that they're doing things right and that they're not leaving any gains on the table. And I resonate with this 100%. I completely understand the mindset of wanting to make sure that you're not doing something wrong. And that's why you just have to experiment. You start with the basics and then deviate a little bit, add a little bit of volume, add a little bit of intensity, play with some of the variables, and don't stray from the fundamentals, and just see what sticks for you, because what might work for one person might not work for somebody else. And I think it's counterproductive to get into a dogmatic mindset of training just to, I don't know, have some kind of identity. I don't know if that's the right word, but I think you know what I mean. There's guys, or just people in the fitness space, the bodybuilding space, that create an identity based on a certain way of training. And I think you're really limiting yourself because you give yourself no room to grow or learn. Because if you've built your audience off of this one type of training and you go away from that, then it kind of leaves people like, well, do you even believe that what you're saying is true? I don't know if that makes sense or not, but I think at the end of the day, you should always be open to learning and find what works best for you. That's the other thing, you find a way of training that works really well for you. And it's like, oh, this works so well for me, so I'm going to tell other people that this is exactly how they should train. And of course, all of this is goal specific. What are you training for? I'm sure most of the guys watching these videos are into bodybuilding, so hypertrophy is the ultimate goal. And there's just a certain subset of rules that you have to follow in order to achieve that. And I think a lot of people overcomplicate it for sure when it doesn't need to be. But at the end of the day, you should just be working hard, like work your ass off, man, and just track data. I think tracking data is a big thing too. And it plays into what I talked about the last time I made a video, which is just being present and intentional with your workouts. Because if that's not there, it doesn't even matter what your training routine is, what your split is. Because if you're just there and you're like, dude, I'm doing the new upper lower split, the new Dorian Yates style training, the new Mike Menser, whatever, and you're just kind of like, throwing the weight around, floppy reps, it's not going to do anything. And then you're going to go off and you're going to search for the next best training program. Oh man, they're always, I can tell you, and I'm not even the most experienced guy here. Like that doesn't even need to be said. But the best, quote unquote, best way to train is always changing. There's always going to be some new study. And really, I think it's just a matter of you've been training for one way for so long that your body just adapted, and now you switched and it's working better. And now you're like, oh, my gains exploded by this much when I switched to this split. And it's like, yeah, because you were just doing the same thing over and over and over again, and you didn't give your body anything to adapt to. So just a little bit of a ramble, something that was on my mind, thought I would share it with you. I'm always down to talk about these abstract ideas. It's probably not even that abstract. That was just the word that came to mind. But I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. What's your preferred way of training? I kind of stick to a push-pull legs, arms kind of split. But sometimes I just say screw it. And I feel like training one particular muscle by itself on some days. There's guidelines. There's something to hold me in place. There's a plan to come back on, but sometimes you just gotta listen to what's calling on the day. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what your ideal training split is. What splits have you done before in the past? What worked for you well before? What's not working for you now? You know what I'm saying? Let's have a discussion. And I'll see you when I see you.